Hey, it's really good to see you. Actually, I can't see you. You see me, but I'm glad you're here. Anyway, let me just adjust something really, really quick. That's better, right? A little more casual, a little bit more behind the scenes, a little more raw. That's kind of what we're going for here. This is another video that's kind of like a discussion I would have with my colleagues in the office. And today I really want to talk about this topic of what private practice is really like. Now, before going into private practice, there's a lot of thoughts about how amazing private practice is. So for example, a lot of people think, well, you know what? I'm going to make my own hours. And so I'm only going to work like this amount of hours, or, it's going to be so awesome. I'm going to be off this day and I'm not going to work that day. And so that's like one misconception, but there's a whole bunch of others. And it's usually like, especially if you haven't done private practice, it's usually like this like overly glorified idea of what private practice is like. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about kind of both sides of what it's like. There are some really, really good things. At the same time, now that I've been in private practice for a while, I also know the reality of what being in private practice is like. And so hopefully today I'll give you a good balanced view of some of the misconceptions that are out there. So don't mind me, I'll be checking my phone for notes. This is more of a raw video anyway. Thought it would be acceptable. So don't mind that. But anyway, one of the first misconceptions I want to address, which I've already alluded to, is this idea of time management, your schedule. Like people think that you're going to be, my schedule, I'm going to be super free, whatever day I want, whatever hours. Again, kind of true, not really. You do make your own schedule. However, you're a helping professional, meaning you work with people and these people have schedules as well. Now, that means there has to be some give and take. So let's just give a real extreme example for a second. Let's imagine for a moment that you are someone who, you're starting private practice. I'm going to have an awesome schedule. So I'm only going to see, clients between the hours of 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. I'll get 4 people in. It'll be great, early morning. Now, that might sound really good. And hypothetically, you can do that. However, you might find that a lot of people that are in need of your services, actually, they're not available at that time. So if you decide to keep that really tight schedule, you're not actually going to be able to help people. However, you are going to need to perhaps be a little bit more flexible. So what I'm saying here is that the misconception is that, you like whatever hours you want, whenever you want. However, because you're a helping professional, you're going to have to be kind of flexible. And oftentimes that's the case. It's a bit of give and take. So in reality, you really aren't working, whatever hours you want, whatever days you want. It's a give and take. And another misconception is that when you go into private practice, you're going to have like an amazing work-life balance. Now, I will say this, if you're really disciplined, you can have a really good work-life balance in private practice. However, what you don't take into account is that private practice is your own thing, right? It is essentially your own business. And because of that, you are going to really want to do well. You're going to want the practice to do well. You're going to want to serve your clients really well. You're going to want to be the best therapist that you possibly can be. And because of this, and because it's your own, in fact, your work-life balance actually might be thrown off a bit. You actually might have a worse work-life balance because you really want your own practice to do well. And all of that kind of falls on you because it's your own, right? So again, I think before I went into private practice, it's this sense of, perfect work-life balance. It's like, I do whatever. I make my own schedule, my own hours. I can work when I want, when I don't want. However, it's your own business. And so you're going to want that to do really well. And because of that, your work-life balance might be thrown off. So I think that you can really have good work-life balance. It's just going to take a lot more discipline in private practice than you probably initially imagined. And another misconception is that running or starting a private practice is like really, really simple, which again, all of these things I'm talking about have some degree of truth. Now, is starting a private practice as a therapist easier than starting a private practice as a surgeon? Sure, you don't need tools or staff or anything like that. You can really just start with minimal overhead and minimal supply because it's really, therapy is just you. At the same time though, it's not just like overnight, I'm gonna decide to go into private practice and then just start seeing clients the next day. there's actually a decent amount of work that goes into this. And I actually made a video all about that. You can go ahead and check it out. I'll link it somewhere up here. But again, the misconception is, oh, private practice? Yeah, I'll just start tomorrow. Or it's super easy. I'll just start seeing clients. Don't think that way. Definitely know that there is a decent amount of work that needs to go into it in order to set yourself up for success. At the same time, it's not that hard. It's totally doable. And I actually want to help and encourage people to start private practice because I think it's awesome and it is doable, but it's not all that easy. So definitely take that into account. Might be helpful for you. And another misconception is that in private practice, you can run things however you want. You don't have to follow rules or regulations or anything like that. You can just do whatever you want. Now, again, in some ways, you do create your own policies. So for example, you can create a late policy. You can create, policies around your hours. All that is true. However, you are very much underneath policies, rules, and regulations that you need to uphold. So your licensing board, whatever kind of license you have, I'm a social worker, so the licensing board for social work, they have a whole bunch of rules and regulations that I have to abide by. The state laws, right? I live in New York State. I have to follow all the state laws for proper treatment. And all these are really good things. I have to uphold a certain standard for all of my documentation. So just because you're in private practice, that doesn't mean that those things no longer apply. In fact, you need to be even more careful that you're following all your rules and regulations. You need to be really well aware of them because now you don't have a big agency or perhaps hospital or whoever else you might have worked for or do work for. It's really their responsibility to help you know and understand what the rules and policies are, because you're part of a bigger umbrella agency or whatever. But now it's just you, and those same rules and policies still apply. Again, this is a wonderful thing. We actually want to have rules and policies in place to ensure that we provide the highest standard of care, do things safely, and do things well. So I love that we have the policies, rules, regulations. However, we just really need to be sure that in private practice, you're aware of them. So you have to do all your reading, your research. And so again, a misconception is like a really common one. I don't have to do documentation anymore. No, not the case at all. You absolutely do need to do documentation, and you need to be really sure that you're doing it well. So definitely don't think that by going into private practice, you will be scot-free of documentation or other kind of rules or regulations. You're not at all. You have to follow everything, and you have to follow it really, really well. So hopefully this video did not scare you. This was not meant to be a deterrent to private practice. In fact, private practice is awesome. I love it, especially for those who are considering private practice. I'm a huge proponent of going for it. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully you learned something. And until then, I look forward to seeing you soon.